Well, hello, males and females of the internet. I hope your weekend has been pretty darn good. My weekend, not so bad, just some inconvenient moments like getting stuck in the snow. I don't know if you've ever experienced your car just completely hitting some ice, and next thing you know, you're in a ditch and you have to have your grandfather come out there and get you going just so you can, get to your destination on time. And for instance, my destination was his house. But then not only to happen once, but to happen again in the morning, you're trying to get to church, and the church you don't normally go to because you live far away. So yeah, I've not had the best experience with the massive assault of snow and the cold that has been hitting the Midwest. And from what I see, we may get some more, we may just some not. Who knows? It's the Midwest. But I went home this weekend mostly because I was wanting to upgrade my phone. Now, my family has this huge plan that we all share together, and I live 2 hours away from my family. So I could have my new stuff get sent to me, go to the AT&T store, but for all stakes and purposes, I want to see my family, I want to go to my home church, and so it's kind of just easier to just go down there anyway. So I made the bold choice in 2024 after being an iPhone user, a die-hard Apple person, to switch to an Android Razr phone, which is one of these cool phones. And I'm a gimmick person. I love my gimmicks. I like the ability that the Razr phone could like snap shut like an older Razr flip phone. And so I went to the world of Android and I tested it out, and it wasn't the best thing in the world. It was fine for what it was. I think it was maybe a little bit overpriced, but I actually didn't pay anything for it. My grandfather somehow got this deal where the Razr phone basically became a backup phone, so it just sat there and it cost nothing to really even have or even to buy. I don't know how my grandfather does these things, but he just somehow makes deals like nobody's business. But late last year, after having it for a couple months, I was like, well, I might as well not have this anymore. And so I still had the iPhone 14 Plus that I had. It wasn't going anywhere, going away anywhere. And so I was like, well, I can just use that as trading credit for something else. And I've been an Apple person, so I was thinking heavily about getting the iPhone 16 Pro Max as it was getting ready to be announced. Now, Apple, in my opinion, is one of the best tech companies out there. I think they make the best hardware. I think they make the best software. I think they have some of the best user experiences that a person could have. They literally have everything a growing person needs to do whatever you need to do on a computer. And so I had an iPhone for many years. I had a MacBook for many of those years. I had the AirPod Pros. I had an iPad. I think you get the point. I was dead set in the Apple ecosystem, not to be torn away. I even built a Mac virtual machine in my Linux operating system, and I called it the Dacintosh. And it no longer works because I can't update any further, so not a lot of applications work for it anymore because Apple switched to their new processor. But I'm still in love with the Apple ecosystem. I think it's just genius design, genius marketing. And you hear a lot of people say like Apple is for rich people. And, that's not, I don't believe that's actually truly the case. But I will say this, in the Western culture, we're very kind of in the mindset that we want to look the best presentable wise. And having Apple products kind of weirdly enough elevates your social status. Like it, and I think it just comes down to the fact that Apple products look very good. They're very stylish. They're very simple, and they don't look out of place. You'll see like actually a lot of like TV shows and movies prefer to use Apple products or basically knockoff designs to look like Apple products. But then again, like Apple also spends a lot of money into making sure TV shows and movies use their products because the brand loyalty is out there and it's almost unmatched by anything else. Apple enthusiasts are some of the most brand loyalists you'll ever meet, and I have nothing against that. I think brand loyalty may be stupid in the grand scheme of things, but it exists and it's fun to support what you like. So I'm never going to complain about that. So I wanted to go back to the iPhone 16 Max or Pro Max, but instead I got the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which in my opinion is kind of a beast of a phone. Now, before we go down the tirade that Android is for poor people and Apple's for rich people, most people don't even understand the technical ways how these phones work. Now, yes, Apple has a clear advantage in the fact they control both the hardware and the software. So you can get a lot better performance than most like Android phones just on that alone. because many people will go to the store and see like a $200 like Galaxy A24 for an example. But Android, you got to keep in mind, isn't necessarily just a brand. It's an operating system that has a lot of moving things into it, and it's not just controlled by one person. Multiple companies mess around with Android. So you'll see Android come in all these weird different shapes and sizes, and that also comes with a huge different range of options in terms of, well, what how big is the phone? What is the shape of the phone? What exactly can the phone do? Because a lot of weird gimmicks you'll see come first Android before they come to iPhone. Now, I will say, despite iPhone, coming out with features later, they kind of perfect it and do it the Apple way, if you will. But for the most part, you're going to see some pretty wacky stuff on the Android side, which, like I said, I'm a gimmick person. I like me gimmicks. But in no way is Android just a poor person thing. For instance, my Galaxy S24 Ultra on retail, I think, is about $1,300. Now, granted, I didn't pay that much for this phone. Kind of pretty glad I didn't have to. Because I had that iPhone 14 Plus, I got like $1,000 trade-in credit. And so this comes down to about like $300, give or take, or something like that, that I'll pay out of pocket when it comes to my next phone bill. But it's pretty pricey technology, and there's no way around it. And some Android phones go up to like the $2,000 range. Like, Androids, like I said, are not necessarily cheap pieces of technology by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I'm not a phone reviewer. I don't do necessarily tech reviews. I haven't gotten to that yet. But if you want to like learn more about this phone, I'll leave some useful links in the description. But that all being said, let's run down the checklist of what I can do compared to the Apple user. Can I browse the web? Pretty well. I think I can browse the web pretty well using my good old Google Chrome. Can I download apps? Yeah, I got a lot of useful apps downloaded onto my phone. Can I watch YouTube? I sure can. Can I send a text message? For $1,300, you bet I can send a text message. And then you have people who go, well, what about FaceTime? Like, gosh, like FaceTime's the real kicker about our social interaction. Listen, FaceTime, it's great. I will be the first one to say I enjoyed FaceTime a lot. But people act like FaceTime is God given Jesus Christ back to humanity to crucify again. While it's a nifty piece of software and it's very versatile, I don't do a lot of video calling outside of talking to my girlfriend through Facebook Messenger now, because I do use an Android, so I have to use something else than FaceTime because it doesn't work. And if I'm talking to my friends on Discord, a lot of times we'll just show up our webcams on the camera so we can see each other and kind of pretend we're in the same room, even though we're not. But like literally, video calling is not something I do often, and I really doubt a lot of people do a lot of video calling. Like, they think they need FaceTime, they can't use anything else. It's a fine piece of technology. If you have it, it's convenient, but there's not much different than just booting up Facebook Messenger and just using it that. If Facebook Messenger even has some like stuff that you just can't do on FaceTime. So there's that for you. So when we really get down to why people kind of prefer Apple other than Android, and there's fair reasons. I will be the first to argue that Android or Apple has a lot of very convenient ecosystem features. For first off, like you can just text from your iPhone, your watch, your computer, your iPad. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But people act like you can't do that on an Android. So if you didn't know this, most Android phones, if not all of them, default Google Messages. It's the default messaging platform, just like Messages for iPhone is the default thing. Well, if I just go to my web browser and I just type in Google Messages, do a 2-second sync on my phone, 2 seconds, I can, from my phone, Windows, Linux, Mac even, doesn't matter what it is, I can send messages just like iPhone users can do on their MacBooks or iPads. There's no difference to it. It works the same exact thing. And before people go, well, what about the blue bubble and the green bubble? Listen, this argument is the dumbest thing ever. If I think as a society, I'm 24, if you're above the age of 16 and you really care about green bubble versus blue bubble, and like you won't date someone because they text with the green bubble, I think you probably should see a psychiatrist. It's kind of insane. And thankfully, this has been around forever, but Apple's finally allowed RCS messaging with I think it's iOS 18. RCS messaging isn't new, despite Apple saying it is. It's been around on the Android scene since I'm pretty sure 2009. Someone can fact check me, but it's been around forever. And basically, what it does, it allows finally a parity between how we can text from Android to iPhone users with little to no difference. Now, sure, there's some messages features that are exclusive to iPhone still, but I can now send images, I can send full HD videos, create group chats, be in group chats, add, remove, whatever, and it's going to work perfectly fine. It doesn't matter that I have a green bubble anymore, okay? If you have a problem with the green bubble, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but life is more important than green or blue. Then there's other people who talk about, well, what about the photos and the iCloud or something like that? Listen, I have an iCloud account to this day. I use it as one of my backup methods, and it's pretty good. But with my phone, I literally can use Google Photos. I can take a photo outside my house with data, and it goes to my computer like instantaneously. Like I just open up Google Photos, the photo I just took out there, it's there. It's pretty fast technology. What about like the watch or the iPad or the AirPods Pro? Well, male and females. While Apple dominates like the tablet market by a landslide, it's not even a competition with the iPads. They're pretty impressive technology. Galaxy is coming along, or Samsung with their Galaxy product is coming a long way. You can get a Galaxy tablet and have a great experience using that, just like an iPad. And because it's Android, it comes in all different shapes and sizes. Like, it's not the only thing. I've never tested out that. I've also never tested out the watch, but the AirPod Pro. Well, what about that? Well, Apple is a marketing genius because when the iPhone 7 was coming out and they removed the headphone plug, they also introduced the AirPod, which revolutionized the way we used earbuds. I have here the Galaxy Pods 3 Pro, and well, they do look a lot like iPhones. Like you have this out, you take it in, you put it in your ear, it works just like an AirPod. But guess what? All the features that I need on the AirPod Pro are on here. I can use that weird like thing where I can talk and it mutes everything else. I can have the conversation with somebody. I can listen to music perfectly fine. I even have pretty darn good noise cancellation. Like I put these on a noise canceling and someone's trying to talk to me, at least from like across the room. I'm not going to hear that. I can work pretty well with that. At the end of the day, if you're going to buy an iPhone, you're going to buy an iPhone. If you're going to buy an Android, you're going to buy an Android. And I think that for the most part, the war between Apple and Android is kind of a dumb war. Both platforms have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they have their own weird niches. Now, it ultimately comes down to what do you want? I am never going to shame someone for being an Android user. I'm never going to shame someone for being an iPhone user. You just won't see that type of language out of me. I think it would be awesome one day if all this rivalry could just end, but am I being delusional with that? Probably, but like I said, what do I know but an IT person? But at the end of the day, just buy what you want. I think it's cool to have choice and why I prefer things like Linux and why I'm starting to prefer things like Android because what I can do on this, there's a lot of cool stuff I can do on it that I can do on Apple, but it's a lot more intuitive to do on this thing. But I don't know. Share your thoughts with me. If you like the video, subscribe, like the video, comment, do whatever you got to do. But that'll be it. And this is Spectral signing